Invisible Words, Visible Dreams, Poetry as Korean Transcendental Cinema. Poetry is a film written and directed by Lee Chang-dong. It tells the story of a suburban woman, Mija, in her 60s, who begins to go to poetry classes. At the same time, she struggles with Alzheimer's disease and also has to look after her irresponsible grandson. As Mija slowly begins to forget words day by day, she pays more attention to her life experience and the nature. Finally, she produces a profound poem with minimum words.
선생님, 저 갈게요. 빨래하고 청소하고 할 일 다 했어요. 내가 건망증이 와갖고 말을 자꾸 잊어먹네요.
여러분들도 이제 시를 한 번씩 써보는 거예요. 난생 처음으로 한 번 써보세요. 아시겠죠?
네. 나무는 왜 봐? 나무를 잘 보려고요.
시를 왜 배우세요?
그러게요. 내가 시를 왜 배울까요?
환자분은 지금 알츠하이머 병이세요.
아무리 궁리를 해도 동거할 데는 없고 그래서 얘기하는 거예요. 굉장히 기분이 좋았고 왜 그랬어? 왜 그랬어?
Transcendental philosophy is evident in both the East and the West. In this paper, I'm going to focus on the philosophy in Buddhism, Zen. Zen is a school of Mahayana Buddhism. It was originated in China during the 6th century. It pronounces Chan in Chinese. It was then introduced to Japan and Korea. Tozan, a famous Zen master, said, "The blue mountain is the father of the white cloud. The white cloud is the son of the blue mountain. All day long they depend on each other, without being dependent on each other. The white cloud is always the white cloud. The blue mountain is always the blue mountain." This is a pure, clear interpretation of life through the lens of Zen. In the practice of Zen, it emphasizes the individual's experience, expression, experiential wisdom in the attainment of enlightenment. It focuses on the process of self-realization and also the harmony of nature. Zen philosophy pays attention to the experience of being, any being, just as the being of the white cloud and the being of the blue mountain. In other words, the being of reality as a whole. This profound philosophy of life has enabled a unique understanding of dreams, which differs to the Freudian thought. While Freud treats dreams as symbolic and can be made sense of through a linguistic structure, dreams in Buddhism are not based on symbols nor language. They are a part of the reality, a part of our self-realization, and therefore transcendental. The transcendental philosophy was previously imported into the film studies by critic and screenwriter Paul Schrader. He transformed the philosophy into a particular film type and called them the transcendental style. His writing on such topic can be found in book Transcendental Style in Film also Bresson Dreyer, and also the book The Religion and Film Reader. Joanne Harrington explains, I quote, "Transcendental style can be defined as a way in which various artists of diverse cultures have sought to express the holy. It is a style that seeks to maximize the mystery of existence. Ultimately, transcendental style denies the necessity of rational thought." End of quote. Paul Schrader wrote, I quote, "Transcendental style stylizes reality by eliminating or nearly eliminating those elements which are primarily expressive of human experience, thereby robbing the conventional interpretations of reality of their relevance and power. Transcendental style, like the Mass, transforms experience into a repetitive ritual which can be repeatedly transcended." If Mija slowly begins to forget words, how do we as audience comprehend her poetry, or her emotional process of writing a poetry? It's no longer the words or language that compose the poetic aesthetic, but the existence of being, the visible dreams. Li Changdong does what Paul Schrader called the transcendental style, to maximize the mystery of existence in every possible way. In the opening sequence, Li engages our emotion through maximizing the existence of death. A schoolgirl killed herself after being raped by Mija's grandson and his friends. To introduce the girl's death, Li put her body in the water. The dead body slowly floats down the water towards us. Death here is meaningless, but also meaningful. The weightless body is in contrast to the blood and flesh. This image of a dead body already composes a part of Mija's poem, without a single word. Li maximizes the existence of the dead body, or death, by establishing two contrasts. One, the floating body versus the blood and flesh. Two, the stillness of the body versus the moving body in the water. The girl's death is part of Mija's self-realization. She discovers that constantly blaming her grandson will not change the reality, that she has to accept what has already happened. On the emotional level, the death of the schoolgirl becomes our cinematic memory through this powerful opening sequence. The element that helps transcending this experience is water. Water later keeps reappearing in the film as a motif, but the water is no longer a normal being of water. After the opening sequence, it has transformed into an emotional device that reminds us the reality of the story. Once again, the flowing water becomes the visible dreams, the death of the girl, a part of Mija's poem. We therefore comprehend Mija's poem through this motif and cinematic memory. When Mija attends the poetry classes, her teacher tells them to pay attention to every single detail of life, because if you do, everything will become alive, and they will provide you inspiration. Mija's experience of discovering the beings becomes her self-realization, and also the audience's self-realization. Even when Mija struggles to write with words, we already see what she tries to see: the apple, the trees, the sky, and the water. By linking Mija's emotion and her self-realization to the nature, her thoughts and feeling become transcendental, because the reality has been stylized, highlighted, and exaggerated into a poetic aesthetic. The cinematic dreams are no longer symbolized, that demand the audience to decode them. These dreams are now part of both the reality in the film and the cinematic reality. In other words, they become visible. The transcendental style not only exists in Lee Chang-dong's films, but also in other Korean directors. This style is a way of performance to introduce audience the philosophy of Zen, Buddhism, and its understanding of life. It was once popular in Japan, like director Ozu, for example, but now it slowly becomes a popular theme in contemporary Korean films, to revisit this religious tradition and its aesthetics in cinema. Another Korean director who is famous for this style is Kim Ki-duk. Kim is also interested in transcending dreams and/or reality through the lens of Buddhism. Thorsten Bornstein's paper, Anti-Freudianism, Korean Style, Kim Ki-duk's Dream, pays exceptional attention to the case of Kim. This style has also become a new trend to gain Western scholars, thinkers' attention for another way of understanding cinema. For a long time, scholars aimed to make sense of films and to find out the ultimate meanings. But if watching a film is like having a dream, then the importance is not its meanings, but is its experience and its being. What completes Mija's poetry is not her words, as she is losing them anyway, but it's the transcended experience that completes her poetry. At the end of the film, we all did it together. We all wrote the poem together.